In this video module, you will understand the rubric used to score the 8th grade Cornerstone Task and how to score the task. First, it is important to note the Cornerstone Task is meant to be a formative assessment and not a summative assessment. Formative assessment is a range of formal and informal assessment procedures conducted by teachers during the learning process in order to modify teaching and learning activities to improve student attainment. For our purposes, the Cornerstone Task is a more formal formative assessment that is administered and scored to determine student mastery of transfer goals. In the 8th grade Cornerstone Task, students are asked to demonstrate mastery of transfer goals 2 and 4. Transfer goal 2, apply the relevance of historical lessons to a given situation, problem, or challenge. And transfer goal 4, communicating and supporting ideas effectively while addressing a particular audience and purpose. While you don't have to assign a grade in the gradebook for this formative assessment, you will need to use the rubric to score students' work. These scores should guide future instruction and give you an idea of whether or not students have mastered the transfer goals at this point of the year. While the Cornerstone Task rubric is written using some advanced language, it is possible for all students to understand the rubric and be successful on the task according to the requirements of the rubric. First, in order to access the Cornerstone rubric, you should go to Module 2, Foundations of Government Google Doc. Scroll down to Stage 2, Evidence, and choose the link to the Cornerstone Task rubric. Once you click this link, the rubric should open. Understand that no one is expecting students to exceed expectations for every criteria on the rubric. Ideally, students should work to show as much understanding or mastery of skills as possible, but most students will probably score in the meets or approaches expectations range. It is only through honest and consistent scoring that teachers will be able to adjust instruction appropriately, so you are encouraged to approach using the rubric with this in mind. The transfer goal being assessed by the Cornerstone Task is listed first on the rubric and should represent an overall evaluation of the complete body of the student's work. Therefore, it would be wise to make a judgment about mastery of the transfer goal after evaluating the other criteria on the rubric. For example, if a student approaches expectations in most other aspects of the rubric, then they are approaching mastery of the transfer goal. When you explain this rubric to students as part of your introduction to the task, you may want to draw their attention to the bold words. These bold words are essentially the action words that will clue students in on what they need to do in order to meet those expectations of the rubric. As mentioned in the video for scaffolding for struggling learners, you may want to develop a more student-friendly rubric to help them understand how their work will be scored. For example, if you view the first standard under the transfer goal, students will be judged on how well they analyze multiple factors that influence the perspectives of people during different historical eras. A more student-friendly way to say this might be, explain how a variety of ideas and facts cause people living in a different time period to form their opinions. Additional information and guidance about how to score the task using the rubric can be found in the teacher instructions of the Cornerstone Task. You can access the U.S. Studies 1 Cornerstone Task anchor papers from here in order to see student exemplars with information about how they meet expectations of the rubric. If you have any additional questions about understanding or scoring the 8th grade Cornerstone Task, please contact your content specialist.